Welcome everybody to another Khaos art tutorial. In this one, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Wacom Intuos tablet. This tablet is absolutely phenomenal in so many different ways. The one that I'm currently using is the Wacom Pen and Touch Medium. This one will run you about $199 in US. I'm not sure what that would be in pounds or wherever you're located. But regardless, this tablet is absolutely worth it. I own the last generation, the Bamboo Splash. That was the Bamboo Splash small pen only. Nothing that I would like to touch, features. I'm like, oh, maybe it's gonna affect how I'm drawing because I like to drag my hand. I was like, I don't want it to mess up like that. And I had the touch on this one and absolutely fell in love with it. This tablet, if you just wanted to use it as a trackpad, it's that good. It's good enough. It's worth the $200 just for a trackpad. It's extremely responsive with everything that you're doing. It picks up you touching it immediately, much like a very high-end trackpad would, which is great, and the multi-touch capabilities of it are just on point with everything. If you're moving it in any sort of direction, trying to scroll, or just trying to rotate an image, you can see I'm scrolling here with 2 fingers. It is just smooth and absolutely precise, and it's absolutely wonderful to see that they're putting that into their products, and they're making it such high quality for the price that you're buying it at. It is absolutely worth it just for that. The next thing about it is with this generation, you have 4 buttons that are implemented onto the tablet. Last Bamboo generation was only on the Pro or the higher end models, which was very frustrating because I wanted the buttons and there was plenty of room in the bezel. And I was like, man, I don't know why they don't have it, and it really drove me crazy. But on this one, it is great to know that there are 4 buttons, 2 on the left and 2 on the right. And they also work extremely well. They are very tactile. You get a nice click whenever you press it, and I will show you here. So you click, and it also shows you up on your screen what the buttons are used for. If you don't set up within the settings a title for it, it'll tell you the keys or the function that it is specifically, which I will show you here in just a moment. But you can set this up to do anything that you would like, keystrokes, right clicks, middle clicks, anything that you would like, and it is absolutely great that you have that capability, especially if you're working in something like Photoshop or After Effects or something of that nature that has these crazy key commands, these hotkeys, and you don't want to remember them all. You just set it up, you have 4 options on there, then you have multiple on the pen, and it just makes it a breeze to be able to flow through things a lot quicker like that, especially commands that you use often. The pen is also an upgrade from the last generation. On the Bamboo Splash that I had myself, there was an eraser option. It was so-so. It wasn't great. There were other pen upgrades you also could buy. Much like this one, there are also pen upgrades, and a lot more universal than the last generation was. But with the pen that you have here, it feels great in your hand. It's almost like a large pencil. It feels really good. It's lightweight. It's got a nice black grip on the bottom, so you don't really lose any grip while you're drawing, especially if you're trying to move fast or something like that. With the pen, you have 3 buttons, and you also have the nice hard tip on the front. There is no tilt capabilities with the default pen, it appears so far. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't been able to figure that out if there were or not. I haven't checked online to see if that was an option with the default pen or not. But it does have the pressure sensitivity, just like the last generation. It has a tactile eraser, so you can feel whenever you're pressing it down. And you can also, set that to whatever you would like, the eraser, and also the 2 default buttons that are on the pen right next to your thumb. This is very similar to the last generation pen, with a few minor improvements, and it is absolutely phenomenal, just like the tablet. I can't say how much I love this tablet, because it has done everything that I've wanted it to do and more. When you first when you first purchase the tablet, the first step you need to do is, of course, unbox it and hook it up. So what you would do is you would connect the right end connector of the USB into the top left hand corner of the tablet, then plug the USB end into USB 2.0 or 3.0 onto your computer. Personally, I prefer to plug it directly into my motherboard. I feel like that cuts out latency. May or may not, I don't know. Just kind of something I like to do, makes it easier for me. Then you will immediately see that there are no lights on the tablet, and you're going to freak out and be like, oh my god, it's not working. Well, it is working. You still have to get your drivers, though. It does come with a driver disc. It's alright. It's kind of better to go online and download the newest drivers yourself, which is the website you can see in front of me, actually, which will also be a link in the description. Whether you type in the URL that I have at the top of the screen, or if you go to the description and go through there, or if you even go to the Wacom tablet or Wacom website itself and go through the navigation bar, you'll end up here no matter what. So as you can see, you have this nice little boy or girl with paint on his fingers, and it's really cool. If you select drivers, nothing's going to happen. It's going to take you back to this website. I'm not sure why it's there. But if you do scroll down, you'll see that drivers are listed here for the latest drivers for the different type of tablets that there are. Make sure that you download the right drivers for the right tablet. I'm sure someone out there is like, oh, well, they're universal. You can use all of them with any tablet. I'm sure you can, but make sure that you choose the right one just so you don't have any confusion in the future whenever it tries to update or anything like that. So the latest drivers for the Intuos is the one that I'm going to be using. I'm on Windows 7, so I'll just download this one. If you're on Mac OS X, it is the option below it. It's very easy to do. Once you download it, go to wherever you downloaded it to, usually your downloads folder, then run the install. Very simple, very quick. Afterwards, it'll prompt you to restart your computer. Once you restart, you will notice that there will be a new startup program, and it is a Wacom options program. And it'll let you know, you have these different options that you can set up on your tablet, which is always nice. And that kind of lets you know that, oh, great, the tablet's working and the driver's installed. Great. You will also notice that there will be a white light on the top left-hand corner of your tablet, which if you're looking at your tablet now, if you have one, you will see that it was probably grayed out unless it's white currently. So that lets you know that it is powered and it is on. There's also a light on the right-hand side that is off. But if you touch the tablet with your finger, if you have pin and touch, or if you don't, and you just hover your pen over it, you will notice that it turns blue. That lets you know that something is interacting with the tablet. It is active, and you are controlling your mouse cursor with your finger or pen, which is an awesome thing to have there, so you can always tell if you're close enough to the tablet, or if the pin's laying on there and you don't realize it, and you're like, oh wow, that's why I can't move my mouse cursor with my mouse. It is just little things like that that make this tablet worth the money. So the next option, or options on the tablet really are the 4 buttons that is a huge upgrade from the last generation. The last generation didn't have any buttons on it and really drove me crazy, but on this one you have 4 different options. You have the top left-hand corner, the bottom left-hand corner, top right-hand corner, and bottom right-hand corner, which they're all across the top of the tablet on the black bezel, and you can customize those to be whatever you want. And it is great that you can do that. And the next option that you have on the tablet is your settings. So if you go down here to your start menu, all programs, scroll down to Wacom tablet, then you would to do Wacom tablet properties. Now that you're in this menu, you can see that I did have Photoshop open, and it also has its own custom settings within Photoshop, which is absolutely wonderful. Previously, I would have to set up my pen to be whatever hotkeys I wanted, but if I switched to After Effects, I would have to change it. It was very inconvenient, but this the new drivers and the new tablet recognize what program you're working in. So for all other applications, which is just daily things, if you're working in like an HTML editor or something like that, it'll recognize that it is an other program. I think it may only recognize the Adobe suite. It may also recognize things like GIMP or something like that, but I'm not completely sure. But you can see under tablet, you have express keys, which tell you the top left, top right, bottom right, which are the different modifiers. And you can choose clicks, all the different types of clicks, then all these different options down here, and even keystrokes that you can create to be whatever you would like, which is incredible that you have all these different options. So next you have your pen, and as you can see, you have your eraser feel, which I like to have on firm. And if you press down with your eraser, it'll show you how firm is. Then you have tip feel, again, firm. You can do the same thing. You can push down to see how firm is. Tip double click distance. I like to keep it on default. I feel like it's a nice distance apart. Then you have the eraser, which you can do keystrokes, clicks, all the same options. Then you have middle click on my top one. That's what I chose for it to be. Then you have right click on the bottom. Then of course the very bottom one is click unless you choose to make it something else, which I prefer it to be on left click. That just seems to be the best option for myself. Next you have mapping. Since I'm using 2 screens, you can see that it's mapped the entire tablet to be on my second screen as well, which is nice whenever you're using just default programs. But if you're using something like Photoshop, you may want it to scale to just that one screen. As you can see here, I have it scaled to just my main screen whenever I have Photoshop open. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you do get used to it, it makes a huge difference in your performance. and it really makes it easier to operate within Photoshop with a lot more detail. So you have your mode, which is pen or mouse, which I like to keep mine on pen, screen area full. You can force proportions based on your screen size. I like to keep that off just so I can go all the way down to the bottom of the tablet to be at the bottom of my screen. Tablet area full, prefer that not to be on proportion. Then you have your touch options. Just like your tablet options, you have your pointer speed with your hand, scrolling speed, pointer acceleration, double tap time, and then you can test it as well. Just like the pen options, you can test all of these things in real time, and it is wonderful that you have these options. And let's move on to standard gestures. I want them all on. I think they're all great. You have tap to click, drag, add tap to click, all these awesome capabilities of the multi-touch tablet. And it really enhances your work. Instead of, let's say you were in Photoshop, instead of using the rotate tool, you can just use 2 fingers to rotate the image and then go back to using the pen immediately after. And it saves you a ton of time whenever you're working with large images like that, or you need to rotate it quickly or scroll in and out with the pinch function, which is, I can't really say it enough how great it is and how much easier it makes your work until you have one of these and you use it yourself. I can't really do it justice, but you have tons of different options, and it just makes it so much easier to do day-to-day things with your computer, with the tablet. Just your functionality just goes off the charts. So then you have radial menu, which I don't really mess with too much. I like to keep it kind of as it is. Function keystroke, that seems to be the best for me right now. And then brush label, brush panel. Like I said, I don't really mess with it. I like to keep it where it is. But then you do have all of your Photoshop options, which I keep all my standard gestures on. I like my pointer speed to be a little bit faster, things like that. Mapping on just one screen. And then my pen, you can see my keystroke on the top, instead of being middle mouse, is now the brush option, which is B hotkey under keystroke, but I titled it brush. Then I have right click on the bottom, and then default click, and then all the normal options here. And you can see the tablet, I have copy paste, and then undo and redo on my hotkey buttons on the top of the tablet. So next step would be to go into Photoshop and show you how all of this works. So once I'm here, you can see since I selected Photoshop, it moved my mouse. So that's because I have it set up to be on one screen instead of both screens, which is what it takes that getting used to. If you're not in the program, see, while I'm in the program, I can't go over to my other screen. I just run off of the tablet. But if I use it with my hand, I can move over to the other screen. Different things like that are going to take a little bit of getting used to, unless you decide to keep it on full screen while you're using any of these programs. But while you're in Photoshop, if you go to your brush options, which is right here, you can go over here to the right. Unless you don't have this menu, you can go to Window and Brush Presets, F5. But mine are right over here on the right hand side. So once you're inside of brush, you can see that mine may look a little bit different than yours. I may have some extra brushes or something like that. But under brush tip shape, make sure that you have a circle selected. You want your spacing to be at as low as you can. I'm using in higher end computers, so I can take it down to 1% or even lower than that if possible. But then that's going to give you the tightest grouping of your individual circles. It's going to give you a smooth looking line. Next, you want to go to Shape Dynamics, Size Jitter, and select Pen Pressure. These are the basic or most basic options that you have with the pen. So if I were to make a new document, okay, you can see if I put this panel back, you can see that I can very lightly draw this line and it almost doesn't even show up, not all the time at least. Or I can hold it down really hard and make this thick line, or I can do in the middle and just kind of mess with it and get the flow and the feel and see what it looks like. And then of course in the hotkeys, I can undo these things very quickly. The hotkeys make this unbelievably useful. And then those are pretty much the basic options for the pen. Other than that, you're basically just drawing. So if you wanted to do like a very fancy M or a kind of crappy double T's. So of course matte, because I am matte with Khaos Art. So matte with Khaos. So matte with Khaos. You can see it's just like drawing, and it's very easy to do. And then while I had the pen in my hand, you can see that I can rotate my image. This is with my fingers. I didn't select the rotate tool. And then I can switch around to the eraser if I wanted to erase my S. It automatically selects eraser for me since I have that as default. So now it's erased. Let's try to draw another S, maybe a little bit better. There we go. I like that one a little bit better than the last. So you can see that it really helps with the functionality. I don't have to reach across to my keyboard all the time and do undo and redo. I just have these hotkeys on the top of the tablet, which help a ton. But for the most part, this is the Wacom Intuos tablet, the medium pen and touch, and I highly recommend it for anybody that's an up-and-coming designer or just draws all the time and would love to work in Photoshop a little bit with their drawing skills, help with the animation or video production or anything along those lines. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll answer as many as I can as quickly as I can. And thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and thank you for all of your support.